3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Steelfist Fights. Today, we got a special guest on the phone with us, calling to us from Las Vegas, Sadie, the Spartan Queen Ault. She's fighting March 22nd, this week, this Friday, against Brittany Guillemin for the Women's Amateur Flyweight Championship. Sadie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? I gotta first ask because it's still freaking freezing here in Utah. How's the weather in Vegas?
It's 74 today.
Oh my gosh. I'm moving. You guys got any extra rooms down there?
Nope.
Dang it. Alright. Well, I'm still moving. I'm still coming down. I'm still gonna come hang out with you guys. First thing I always get interested in as soon as I start talking to fighters, I always want to know where the nickname came from, because there's usually a story behind it, and it's outside of what you would originally think. So please give us the legend behind the Spartan Queen.
I'm not a big nickname person, so at first I didn't really want one. I just kind of wanted to go by my name. But my husband has called me the Spartan Queen since we've been together. It's just been his name for me, and so I thought it would be kind of cool. So we just rolled with it.
Did it come from the movie 300? Did you watch that together and he's like, oh, that's you?
I've always been diehard. I love that movie, everything about it. And he'd always make fun of me. He's like, that's so corny, that's kind of a dumb movie. But he's like, you just like it because of the dudes. But
well, who wouldn't?
I really like the storyline. I love the few against many. And so, yeah, he just started calling me the Spartan Queen because I was really skinny when we met, and he started putting muscle on me. And he's like, dang, you kind of looking like a Spartan Queen. So it stuck.
I like it. How often do you practice that Spartan kick?
Lately, quite often.
Yeah, I think it's funny we call it the Spartan kick. It's just a front kick, but that movie has made it famous and has given it a title to the Spartan kick. And anybody who doesn't know anything, hasn't studied any martial art, they will call that the Spartan kick no matter what. Yeah, that's an excellent movie. It really is.
I love the Spartan kick. That's my favorite, you know.
I like, that's a good one. I never land it, so if anybody ever trains with me, don't worry about it, because I won't land it on you. I don't have the technique for that. My body doesn't move good with that kick. I got some other kicks, but that one is not a threat. So if you got it, if you got that zoned in, good for you. So we're in the final week of fight camp. When do you start winding down? Have you already started winding down? Do you guys wind down? What's the philosophy behind that?
Yeah, we Friday was our last hard training day. Right now we're just focusing on cardio. Friday was our last sparring day. So this week we're just gonna kick up our cardio super high all the way till Wednesday, if not Thursday morning too, and then we head out for weigh-ins.
What type of cardio are you going to be doing, focusing on? Is it like HIIT workouts? Is it
all of it? All of it. Sprints, interval training, HIIT. We'll do endurance training, running, everything. Yeah.
Do you mix it up between long distance running and then sprints, or?
Yeah, we do. We do both.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I liked when I was talking to Clay, and he's like, yeah, our coach doesn't let us not have cardio, because that's something that I push on anybody I talk to. I'm always like, see, I always would tell people when I help them is how important swimming is, but not the swimming, breathing, pulling your head out of the pool, because then that teaches, in my mind, that teaches you to gasp for air. What I would do is I would have people swim with a snorkel, so that way their breath isn't restricted to being in the pool. And so I would push them, because then you're using max effort of your body to move through the water, but you're breathing normal. And when I was swimming a lot, it actually made me a better runner, which I believe made me a better fighter. So as far as conditioning,
I'm like Andre the Giant. I only dog paddle.
That's a great reference. Anybody want a peanut? So do you really not swim?
No, I'm a dog paddler.
Okay. Well, maybe we should get Ryan to get you in the pool with a snorkel. Then you don't have to worry about drowning. You're not going to drown if you got a snorkel on. You'll float.
I can do it with a snorkel.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's always that's always my tip that I give to people as far as swimming goes, as far as conditioning goes, for building up cardio is swim a lot, but swim with a snorkel. Don't be pulling your head out of the water because then you're gasping for air, and I believe that trains your lungs to do that. You don't want to be doing that in a fight.
Yeah, that's a good technique.
You know, don't tell anybody I told you that. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm not telling anybody I told you that. I didn't even tell Brittany that, so you're welcome. Let's see. What has been your main focus through this camp? Obviously, you're going to be working on everything, but did you have anything in particular? Like, I really want to zone in on this technique.
My biggest thing that I've been training is mental.
Mm-hmm.
The mental game. My first few fights, I had a hard time. My adrenaline dumped, and I just wasn't there 100% mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband found a good sport therapist, and he's been doing a lot of work with me. Alan Richards in St. George, he's amazing. And then just kicking up our training. For a little while, we were kind of keeping it limited to just our group, and so we really started expanding. And I think training with different people and harder people that are like really well rounded and well known in the UFC and everywhere, kind of boosted my confidence.
Yeah, I want to get back to the mental part of it. That was a question I wanted to ask you later on, and so I'm so happy you brought that up. But you also brought up your the extra training that you're getting in outside of your Team Bonafide. Is that what it's called, Team Bonafide?
Yeah.
Okay, so outside of that, you guys have also been training down at Extreme Couture, and so how many different training partners are you getting looks with during any given week? Is it a good number, or are you still keeping your numbers kind of low? You're just very selective on who you're going to work with.
It just depends on the day. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are their main sparring days, and we go to both of those. We do Shark Tank. It's usually like 5 to 7 rounds, and you do a different person every round. And so it's basically like whoever wants to go with you, and a lot of times I'll choose to go with the instructor so I can learn different things from them. Girls, it's kind of hard to find girls there. There's a few that will go with me, and it's fun when I can. But for the most part, I'm getting my butt kicked by big dudes.
Yeah. So do they have a lot of girls out there, or are they most of them in the pro classes?
We do the pro classes. That's the one that we go to. So they have Emily Whitmire, Claudia Gadella, Sarah Cheesecake, and there's a few amateur girls that are in that class as well that I work with. But all of the UFC girls have been on vacation. Yeah. So I've been mainly working with the guys.
Yeah, I promised I wouldn't bring up the name of my favorite fighter, but you already did it for me. Yeah, she's on vacation. I follow her on Instagram. She's like in Brazil right now. So.
I know where she is.
I know where you don't need to tell me about her. I know where she's at. No, I promised I wouldn't bring her up. Everyone's like, you need to stop. You need to stop bringing her up. She's just my favorite fighter. It'd be like me talking about John Jones or people talking about like Conor McGregor. I just talk about.
You see her on TV and then you see her in person. You're like, wow, she is a stack house.
And I'd never seen her in person. I tried to interview her when I was in Vegas once, and I had gotten back, and I got on my Instagram story, and I was like, hey, I was looking for Claudia, asking everybody I met if they knew her, and I had a lot of leads that people said they could, but I never met with her. Then she saw that story and got back to me on her story and was like, I'll do your show. And then we talked back and forth, but I mean, she doesn't really have any reason to come out to Utah, but now that I can do interviews over the phone, maybe one day. But yeah, so outside of her, I talked to Brittany about this, I talked to Caitlin about this. I'm so interested in the growth of female MMA. I think that it's right now in its stages where we're going to see a giant boom of just more women flooding gyms and coming into fighting. But we've all kind of agreed that Utah is kind of behind the mark as far as getting women to flood in. Are you seeing that in Vegas? Are you seeing a lot of women come into the gym? I mean, you're at a very big name gym, so I'm assuming you're going to have a lot more people, but do you feel like it's growing all over that area?
It is. I think it's hard because we only go to the pro practice, and they have an amateur team that they have tryouts for, and they select who they want on their amateur team. Mm-hmm. And they only have a few girls on it that do go to the pro practice, so I don't know outside of that what they've got. Mm-hmm. But the girls that they do have are amazing. They're pro level for sure.
Okay. Well, good. 'Cause I'm just wondering what we got to do to get it bigger here in Utah. I mean, like I've said,
It's hard. It seems like there's only a handful of girls, and they all just gotta fight each other over and over again.
Yeah. I was going to bring up some names here in a little bit to see who you want next, and some of them you've already faced. But I mean, that's kind of the game that we're in right now. If it doesn't grow, and I've mentioned a million times, I'm so interested in this because I've got a little girl that I want her to learn how to defend herself. Whether she fights or not, that's up to her. But knowing martial arts is so important for me because of everything else that it brings. The confidence, the ability to defend yourself and all things like that. So I'm always wondering what we got to do in order to, and what I can do, and what any fellow fighters can do to kind of promote more women's MMA. And obviously having four women fighters, both of them for title bouts on this card is one of those big things that we can do to say, hey, these girls still the show. Every single fight, every single card, the women still the show. I mean, that did you watch the card last night, the UFC card?
I did.
Oh, that what was her name? McCann, who broke her orbital bone. That fight was insane.
Savage, and then she just hopped right over the fence like it was.
Yeah. So in my opinion, that was fight of the night. I don't think.
And not even that. Last week when Yana, she also trains at Extreme Couture, she broke her nose completely, smashed it, and pulled through the last round with a broken nose.
Yeah.
Throwing.
Week after week, they still show. So I mean, it's definitely anybody who's paying attention is seeing that women's MMA is on its way up, and it more often than not is a notch above what the guys are doing. So my hat's off to you always for what you guys are doing. How's the weight cut coming? I always got to ask that question. That's always like the hardest part of any training camp. How is it coming along?
It's going really good, actually. Last time it was a lot harder when I went 115. This is only my second time fighting 115, and the first time I think I burned a lot of muscle. I didn't eat as much protein as I should have during the cut, and this time I've been doubling up on protein, and it's been a lot easier.
Yeah. Does Ryan handle that for you as well?
No, I like to do my own food.
You're on your own.
Yeah, he handles Clay's nutrition because he's really good at it, but I like to be in control of what I eat. I'm a bossy woman.
Are you very are you picky about what you eat, or you just don't want other people making your food?
No, not at all. I just want to be in charge of what it tastes like.
So what's the go-to snack when you're in your weight cut? When you're dying, you're like, I need something right now.
Peanut butter bananas.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so good. Or I've been doing like chicken salad on cucumber slices. Has been saving me also. That's
nice. I like that. Yeah, those are. I mean, I'm not as big a fan of cucumber, but if I have to do it for a weight cut, I can do it. But peanut butter bananas, I'll eat that and I'll eat that even if I'm not cutting weight. I'll do that always. Peanut butter's good on anything. Then peanut butter and banana, that's magical. So yeah, well that's good. Do you try to do the sauna to try to cut water weight at the very end, or how close do you try to come in before you're like, if you decide to go in and do a sauna?
I haven't ever had to cut water. We usually just go dry the day. I will drink distilled water the last couple of days and then go dry the day of weigh-ins. And I mean, last time I was 119 the day before weigh-ins, I think, and then I was 112 the day of weigh-ins. So for us, it's really easy.
Yeah.
It's not, our bodies are just ready for it,
Yeah, I like to hear that. I like to hear a lot more fighters are doing that. I think a small cut in the sauna is okay. I mean, as much as, maybe a little more than what you'd sweat if you were to do like a full workout or something. But, when people are trying to cut like 15 pounds of water,
that's scary. I don't want to fight feeling weak.
No, it does way too much. It does way too much you're right. Your body feels weak. And then what it does to your brain, it dehydrates. I mean, your brain holds water. It dehydrates. You're going to think slower. And it's medically proven it takes up to 24 hours to hydrate your brain again. So if you weigh in and you don't have 24 hours to rehydrate, you're going in with a dehydrated brain. Not only are you going to move slower and think slower, but once you start taking damage to that head, it's going to do a lot more. So I'm one of those advocates out there to just stay close to the weight that you fight at, or be really good with your nutrition and do it healthily. So I'm glad.
I do like to be a fat kid during the off time, though. I walk around 135.
Well, that's not bad. That's 15.
For a girl, I feel like that's a big weight difference for a girl.
No, I'm not going to speak to that, but you're fine. I don't think that's an issue. And that's not even that bad of a cut. So I'm glad that you do that, and then you think it's a big cut. That's fine, but it's not. It's really not. So
it's so easy though. I just diet down and then.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're doing that. What was the Instagram post you made? I believe it was yesterday that you said something about skinny Sadie, and then you did a profile of your nose.
Yeah,
What's that all about?
My cheekbones show when I'm skinny. I hate it.
So that's your model look. You're also sunken in with cheekbones.
I got some cheekbones on the outside out here.
Okay.
And always come through when I get a little skinny, and I don't like it. I like to be heavier.
Okay. Well.
I always make fun of myself.
Yeah. So have you ever thought about fighting up in weight, or do you feel like your frame?
I fought 135 my first fight. I fought 125 my third fight. I like 115. I feel faster. I feel sharper. I like all of them. I haven't had any trouble at any weight class. I think it's always been pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
I've always felt equally, like my strength is equal to my opponent.
Yeah.
No matter the weight. But 115, it's home, like it's comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm lean, I'm fast,
and so you're gonna stick with that. You're gonna stick with that as long as you can, right? But then, because we saw with like Anthony Johnson that he was cutting weight for so long, and then he's like, oh no, I'm actually better at 205. I'm gonna jump back up to. I'm gonna fight at 205, and then he actually went on a tear at 205.
I think if I put on more muscle, I'll go up in a weight class. But
yeah, I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it smart. I think you're doing it right. So keep doing it as long as it works, as long as you feel good. That's the most important part. Is, man, if you start making those cuts and you just don't feel good, then the time for that weight is over. I feel.
Yeah.
So one of the big things I got a lot of people commenting on when I interviewed Clay was his work with the youth, and his involvement with working with the youth, and actually that's something that you are very much involved with as well. Do you mind sharing a little bit more light on what it is you guys are doing and what it is that just what it is you guys are doing with the youth?
Really just trying to help them get past their regular kids. These are regular kids that got caught doing stuff that all regular kids do. The parents just wanted better for them, and so they have us help them by having a structured environment where they have no access to other friends and bad influences. We kind of just guide them. Everything they do is with our family. It's super homey. They're with us 24/7. They're with our kids. Everybody, that's their main thing. Then people find out what we do. They're like, oh, don't you get scared having them around your kids? I'm like, not at all.
Yeah.
I would trust these kids with my kids more than anyone else. They've babysat for me before. They watched my kids during some of the fights. They're really good. They just need the extra. Yeah. I don't know what you would.
Guidance.
That and structure.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more. Yeah, they just need to get away from their environment. They're more susceptible to do bad things when they're around bad people, and it's hard to stay away from bad people when you've surrounded yourself with them for so long. Yeah,
it's kind of hard to break that chain once you're inside of it. And a lot, the experience with a lot of the kids that I worked with, and I don't want to talk too much about it, just for just their privacy, but the parents are wealthier, and they spend a lot of their time creating that wealth. They spend a lot of their time out of the house providing for their family, and they're really good at that, but the nurturing part, the structure part is kind of lacking because they're out of the house. And so the kids get into trouble, but not really because they're bad kids, but because they get bored or there's not a structured parent in there showing them what to do.
They don't have to work, so that's what we do. They're used to being at home where they don't have to do anything. They kind of just sit around and play with mom and dad's money. So when they come here, it's like, no, you've got to provide for yourself. If you want to do anything extra, you need to make money. You need to start working. Pick your career. You need to finish school. We have them on an expedited schooling program, so they finish high school really early, and then choose if they want to do the military, school, or work full time. So we keep them busy. Training is a huge thing. They can either work out MMA with us, or we'll train them on the side, weight training.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so proud you guys are doing that. I mean, I've always wanted to do something more closely to that. I actually had a kid out of one of the programs who actually moved in with me after he left, and I did that exact same thing. He woke up with me. He ate what I ate. He went to the gym when I went to the gym. He was, and I just told everyone he was my little brother. And we got him out on a wrestling team out of this high school, and I'd go to all his matches, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Was like spending all that time with him. and just, making him part of the family. He came to Thanksgiving. He came, he went everywhere we went, and it was really fun. So, my hat's off to you guys for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I mean, it's so much. So many people want to complain about the teens these days and how bad kids are, and how all they do is play Nintendo and they're so entitled. But it really just takes a mentor. It takes somebody who's willing to take their time out to be there for them, to just to give them a good life and to put them on the right path. So that's awesome. You guys are doing that. I guess for my last question on that is, like, you're teaching these kids so much, but what do you feel like you've learned about yourself through doing this?
Patience with my own kids, definitely. I think I learn more from the teenagers than they do us. Unconditional love, forgiveness. They do stuff. They do things that they're not supposed to, and you're not your parent, so you can't punish them like you're their parent. You have to step back and take a less emotional approach to it and be like, okay, you did this. What are we going to do from here? And I think it's really helped me in my own parenting for my kids.
That's good.
I've been a lot better with mine. I used to have a temper with my kids.
Yeah.
I get a lot more mad and yell a lot more, and so I think they like it too.
Yeah, it's easy. I feel it's really easy to have patience with one kid, but if I were to have more than one, my patience would be gone. With my daughter, I'm like, I can go and grab you an apple, even though I just barely sat down. But if I had like 3 kids, I'm like, no, get your own apples. It's a lot easier to have patience with just one. So, well, that's great. I'm glad. Again, I'm glad you guys are doing that. And so back to the mentality part you were talking about. You focus most on your mentality through this fight, and you were working with a guy in St. George. What was his name again? Make sure we give him a shout out. Alan Richards. What exactly are you guys going over? Is it meditation? Is it just, you tell me, what is it that you guys are really working on?
I don't remember the name he has for it. It's this weird technique where he just, he has you go over something that was like a traumatizing experience or something that you felt yourself like lose control in, and he kind of has you relive it. And when you start to feel those emotions build up, he stops you there, and then he goes over like trigger words to calm you. Like beforehand, he kind of establishes like, where's the place you ever felt the most safe? What's the safest site you ever saw? Like, what are some words that remind you of that? And as soon as he sees those emotions start to build up, he'll put out those trigger words, and you kind of teach yourself how to calm down in like a stressful situation. It's helped a ton.
Yeah.
I see it now a lot when I'm training. I'll start getting worked up when I'm sparring, and then I am able to kind of just step back, breathe deep, and then just completely reset. Oh,
wow. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I guess I've heard of that technique before. Never really considered it, but I can see how that, I mean, just a reset is so much, like you so many times you can just get caught on something stupid and you're not out in the fight. And so being able to like pull yourself out and say, oh, okay, well, no, I'm okay. I've shared this story a few times. In my first fight, I actually got knocked out in the first round, but I woke up fast enough to where the fight wasn't over. And I thought to myself, like, I could either be scared right now to throw any more punches because I know that now he has power to put me out, or I can use that as a way to say, he hit me with his best shot. I went out and the fight's still going. There's no chance I'm going to lose this fight now. And that was the path I chose to take. Was like, well, now I ate his best shot and actually went out and the fight's still going. So I'm meant to win this fight. But I don't know how. I don't know how I had that mentality. I guess it was just that what's inside of all of us to just survive at all costs, and I had to talk myself into that. But yeah, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that moment. It just happened so fast. I took a step in and had my hands a little too wide, and he slipped an uppercut and hit me right up the middle. And next thing I know, I'm opening my eyes and I'm on my knees and I'm like laying into him with my arms around his legs, and I was like, oh, I guess I just fell into him as he knocked me out. So yeah, it was could have been a scary moment, but instead I used it as a motivating factor. So being able to having that technique inside of you, already built into your subconscious to know, oh, I'm in trouble, use my safe word or whatever it is I have to use, my trigger word, and get myself back in. That's pretty awesome. And I wanted to mention, because I wanted to talk about your mental toughness, because you've fought for kind of the bigger local promotions in your career already. I mean, Steelfist is the biggest in Utah, and Tough is a big one out there in Vegas. So, I mean, before you started learning these techniques, how would you deal with kind of the stress of going out in front of a bigger group of people than what most fighters so early in their career would be going up against?
It's scary. I mean, it's still scary at first knowing that you're going to be out on a stage. I've never played sports or performed in anything, so I'm not a performer. I'm not good at being out in front of a crowd. The minute they close the cage and you see your opponent across from you, everything else kind of goes away. So that was never an issue. It's never been dealing with the pressure of where I'm fighting or who I'm fighting in front of. Mm-hmm. It's more just the pressure of making myself proud.
Yeah. Wow.
Putting everything I have in.
Well, I mean, where do you think? I mean, that is not a typical thing. Most people are freaking out at that moment, and they're not really worried about themselves. They're worried about their team. They're worried about their family. They're worried about all the people that are watching. So, what do you think you can attribute that to? Where do you think you developed that ability to be able to walk in and just say, well, I don't want to let myself down?
Probably the lack of performing experience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's so new to me. I guess it's that. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah.
When I'm out there, it's just me.
Yeah.
Nobody else is out there with me except for my opponent, and so I just have to worry about myself.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So that's pretty impressive. So let's get into the actual fight now. You're fighting March 22nd for the flyweight amateur belt for Steelfist. What? Strawweight. My bad. You're fighting Brittany Guillemin. What strengths do you see her having?
She comes from a good gym. I'm sure she's a well-rounded fighter. She's kind of on the same road as me. We both have a losing record right now. We're fighting tougher opponents and not giving our full potential out there every time. And so I think this is going to be a really good fight for both of us to show everyone what we're capable of. Yeah,
I agree. Do you think there's anything any threats that she possesses, just right off the bat, something you want to stay away from, or?
No.
You ready for her to go anywhere?
Pretty much, yeah. My first fight was against a really good wrestler. Second was Maddie. She's really good at jiu-jitsu. Third was against another really good wrestler. I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable all around.
Yeah. What do you think your biggest asset is? What do you think your biggest strength is?
My hands.
Your hands?
Yeah, for sure.
Box. Yeah. Yeah. That's where did you develop? Is boxing the first thing you got into when you started doing MMA, or was?
Yeah, I did boxing a long time ago. I dabbled in it. I kind of went to a gym local in Northern California, and I kind of just went as something. My dad wanted me to do a sport. I hated team sports. I hated girls. I didn't want anything to do with it. And so there was a little boxing gym. It's $30 a month. It was a little Cuban guy who didn't speak any English, and I would just go and hit the bag a couple hours every day. And I did that for a few years, and then when I met my husband, he's a really good striker, and so he kind of taught me how to punch properly.
Yeah.
And then he was like, wow, you're really good at this. We should do boxing. And so I did some boxing. And then, I don't know, it just wasn't enough.
What style of boxing do you like to emulate? Are you trying to be real elusive in there? Are you throwing power shots? Are you sticking and moving? I mean, what is your? I mean, obviously you're going to try to do it all, but what do you feel like is your go-to?
Technique. Making the punches count. He's really hard on about. He really drills in. Make every punch count. Make every punch pop. You just snap it every single time. But he doesn't like lazy jabs.
Yeah.
And so, just making every punch count. Doesn't have to be power. It just has to be out there. It has to be landing. It has to be accurate. It has to be fast.
Yeah.
And if it's not fast, it needs to be hard.
Yeah. No, well, that's awesome. Because there's so many fighters, especially early on in the career, they abandon the jab, which is I feel it's the bread and butter of all fighting. Is the jab. Yeah. It sets everything up, and then you see a lot of these early fighters going in there just throwing hooks, and it just drives me insane. I'm like, someone throw something up the middle. So I'm glad that he puts and that he puts emphasis on it, not to throw a lazy jab out, not just put it out there to put it out there, but if you're going to put it out there, put it home, make it count, put it to him. So that's awesome. So I ask everybody how they see themselves winning the fight, and most of them just say with their hand being raised. But is there any way in particular you see yourself winning this fight? When you're doing your mental visualization, how do you see it ending?
I visualized it ending every way. On the ground, standing up, submission. It's however it happens. Fighting is so unpredictable. I don't like to bank on one way. I just kind of, whatever happens, happens, and as long as I do my job. As
long as your hand's raised, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here comes the question: is what's next? Who do you see after that? I mean, you probably know all the names of all the fighters in Utah.
Well, yeah, this fight was actually not supposed to be a title fight. It was supposed to be a fight in between, a rematch between me and Maddie that I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
And she went pro, and so that wasn't on the table anymore. And so we turned this one into a championship fight. I would love to pro debut against Maddie. I want a rematch. I adrenaline dumped, and I know I'm a better fighter than what I showed everyone, and I want to go at it again. She's a good fighter. I love throwing with her.
Yeah. Do you see yourself do you see yourself fighting with Rayona Driscoll again? You had that. You have the win against her. She's on a bit of a tear right now. 2 first-round knockouts.
I would fight her again if she wanted to. If we were in the weight class and we needed to, I would totally fight her. I'm good friends with her now. I really like her.
Yeah.
But,
I think
sure.
a lot of us end up being friends with who it is that you fight anyways.
I've been a little more picky. Rayona's, I think, the only one that I've really had a relationship with after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a really good person and super sweet, but yeah, I would throw with her again.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, okay, it's time for my favorite part of the show. That you're the only one that had an issue with it.
I am not a crap bang.
crap banging doodle bag.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Too far.
Whoa, what's going on? 1 second. Close that up. All right, I got to try to find it real quick. The trash talk generator. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I got to do what I got to do,
I don't put it like that, though.
Okay, let me get out of this. Yeah, you're the only one that called me out on it. You're the only one that had an issue with it. And
I think it's hilarious. I love the corniness of the comebacks.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this just yesterday because after the incident, did you hear about the incident with George Masvidal and Leon Edwards?
No.
So after the fight,
somebody fought in the locker room, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. George Masvidal was doing an interview, and Leon Edwards walks past him and starts jawing at him, and and George Masvidal, who doesn't mess around, doesn't play games, just walked up to him and pieced him up real quick, hit him like 3 times, and was like, "You don't talk. That's not what we do." And I just thought, we're in this era of fighting where it's just like too many people are it's fake. The trash talking's fake. So that's the reason I do this whole segment, is just because it's just satire on the whole thing. I'm poking fun at the whole trash talk era and this whole like I don't know, this whole mentality.
It really is. It's a disrespect to the sport.
Yeah, this whole mentality of we have to hate each other. That's the only way to sell tickets. And so, I'm gonna give you the word real quick.
March 22nd, I'm gonna beat Brittany Guillemin because she is a butt-stealing ass lover.
All right, you're the first one to cuss on the trash talk, just so you know. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Good luck. March 22nd. We'll see you out there. Everybody, get your tickets. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you for being part of the show. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, everybody, there you have it. Sadie Ault, Sadie the Spartan Queen Ault, March 22nd. That's this weekend. It is coming up. Do not miss this fight. You can buy your tickets at Steelfist.com. You can find us on Instagram at Steelfist Fights. You can find us on Facebook at Steelfist Fight Night. And you can find this show on YouTube and iTunes under the Undefeated by Choice. Please like, subscribe, and share. Everybody, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you.